We're going to talk to you about your travels in just a moment, but tell me first up about the significance of partnering with local churches to support what World Vision's doing.
Oh, great. Well, we see the church as our indispensable partner, and whether that's working in Uganda, where I've just been, or whether it's here partnering in New Zealand as a fundraiser and supporting those that need it more. So, yeah, we love the church. We feel we know that Jesus is returning for her bride, and we believe we're part of, with the church becoming more ready and more beautiful for that return.
And it's a cool opportunity to be the hands and feet, isn't it? So let's look at Uganda, because you've recently been on a visit there about a month ago. And we know that that is a nation that has some pretty significant challenges. So what did you see when you were on the ground there?
Yeah, two things come to mind. PTSD, and trauma from all that. There was a war in this particular region with the Lord's Resistance Army, which included just a lot of child soldiers who would have to murder someone from their own community so that they could supposedly never return, and just lots of girls pregnant at teenage years, whether that be sold as a child bride or as a result of rape. And as a father and as a human, I just found that pretty horrific and very disturbing. So they were the two key things. But I guess the response to that, and I hope I'm not jumping ahead, is just how amazing that the pastors in that community were responding. Typically, they had a theology that was, our land is cursed, we're never going to be successful, we're hopeless, but heaven will be great. And World Vision, and I'm sure many other organizations, has come in and said, you are made in God's image. We pray in the Lord's Prayer, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And our vision statement at World Vision is based on John 10:10. I came that you would have life in all its fullness. And what I saw was pastors radically changed over a number of years, like their lives turned upside down. They were then influencing their churches, which were being transformed, but not only their churches, entire communities. And that was amazing, just to see the foundation of everything we do, which might result in less child marriage, less PTSD, more well-being, a life in its fullness, but it was based on the truth of the scriptures and all that Jesus has called us to be.
That's awesome, Philip. And you were there with a church group as well. So tell us about that group and the impact that this trip had on those who were traveling with you.
Yeah, so I went with Stephen and Tara Talbot from Hope Presbyterian here in Christchurch. They're a large church with 3 campuses that Steve oversees. And what I guess the primary motivation for them was, like all of us face, is we can't change everything in the world. There's Gaza, there's Ukraine, there's South Sudan, there's all sorts of things going on, but let's make a real difference in this one community. And so the whole thing that they were motivated by was getting to know the World Vision staff, the community leaders, the pastors and what have you in this community, build relationship with them. And so that they, as a church of Hope Presbyterian at Rolleston, they could really build an amazingly mutually transformational relationship between the church here in New Zealand and the church / the community in an area called Alito in northern Uganda.
Yeah, I will confess it can get pretty overwhelming when you hear news reports of wars in the Ukraine and the situation in Gaza and the humanitarian crises that are in many different parts of the continent of Africa and beyond. And you can feel a sense of futility in a way that you can't possibly do anything to fix everything all at once. But what I love about World Vision is it is providing a way that you can tangibly change the life of one person. Now, I went to Tanzania with World Vision a couple of years ago, and it was just incredible to see the work of World Vision firsthand, getting water into villages where there was no water supply, which radically transformed the people's and communities' capability to go to school and go to work because they had water and they didn't have to spend all their days finding that just to survive. And I saw schools and toilet facilities being built and medical centres. And I myself was like, great, I would love to be a part of this. So I signed up to be chosen and have sponsored Rahubu and now another little boy, Sai. And I know that you did the same, Philip, when you were over there. You decided to be chosen. So what was that like for you personally? How did that make you feel?
Well, yeah, so my wife and I and our kids, we've sponsored children for many years, but this was the first time to actually be at what we call a choosing party. So there's 75 photos of people, individuals, couples, and what have you from Hope Rolliston up on strings, and then we had this amazing party day, and all these kids came in, and one by one they chose their sponsor. And yeah, so I got to meet Rebecca, who chose my wife Susan and I, and hang out with her and met her mother and her little brother. And it was an amazingly special time. But what I love about the work of World Vision is there's two key things about our child sponsorship model. A, none of the money goes directly to Rebecca or her family, but it goes to the World Vision staff and the leaders of the community for them to decide what the priority is, whether it's water or agriculture or whatever it might be. And then through the leaders to the adults, to Rebecca's parents, etc., so that every child thrives, not just the sponsored children. However, that child sponsorship relationship, again, can be mutually transformational because we can make an incredible difference just by encouraging that young child, Rebecca or Rabu or whoever your child might be, sending letters and praying for them just makes an incredible difference in their life. Because one of the impacts of poverty is people tend to be so busy doing everything that needs to be done. Nurturing a child is almost something that almost hasn't got time. And that's something World Vision will work on as we progress in our 10 years in these communities. But yeah, there's two amazing components, and it was so neat to actually meet the people. And like what Steve and Tara wanted to do with the relationship with that community and their church, I was able to do with my sponsored child as well. So it makes an amazing difference for our ongoing relationship.
So what would you say to somebody then who's heard these stories, heard these testimonies of impact today, and they're wondering if maybe putting their name forward to be chosen is the right thing for them to do?
I would say that the work of World Vision, remember, it's based on what Jesus would have us do. It's based on spiritual transformation, and then flows the natural. Often, we think of the natural, the water, the education, better livelihoods, better food production, and what have you. But if there's a hopelessness in the community as a start, that needs to be replaced by the truth of who you are as a result of Jesus' death and resurrection. So sort that out first, then add some opportunity, like you might be given 3 chickens or help to grow better crops, and then you'll see a community absolutely transformed, and adults and children moving into life in all its fullness that Jesus talked about in John 10:10. So yes, I would encourage you, make sure you do it. World Vision, 82% of all money given to us goes overseas, and you can claim your tax back. So it only works out about a cup of coffee a month to sponsor a child. A week, I should say.
Amazing. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss the next video.
We'll see you in the next one.